Annyeonghaseyo, this is meowmurai. Let's continue our game of Tsukihime, a piece of blue glass moon running on Nintendo Switch 2.
いただきます。
With no other choice, I dig my spoon into the curry. As soon as I do, I thought Arahiko's soul had left his body for good, but he springs back to life.
お前さんね、いつまで無二の親友を無視してるわけ？あれだろ一言。いや、常に生きていてありがとう乾君。ところで今日は素敵な先輩を紹介するよ。おっと僕は忙しいのでそろそろ校舎裏に行く。あとは二人でご歓談の歩道とかいろいろさ。あと余ってるならそのカレーうどんちょうだいね。
やらないよ。でも常に生きていてご苦労様、乾君。
Arahiko's arm shoots forward. I deftly guard my curry udon from his thieving hand.
乾君、遠野君とお知り合いなんですか？
何言ってんすか。知り合いも知り合い、中学時代からの大親友ですよ、俺たちは。
Probably one of the few things he'll say with absolute sincerity.
そうだったんですか。ごめんなさい、約束を保護してしまって。そのですね、私が今朝ご迷惑をかけてしまったのが遠野くんなんです。
いいっす。筋の通った理由っすから。というか、名前さえ教えてくれたらこっちから遠野を連れ出したっすよ。で、こいつどんだけひどいことをやらかしたんですか？
早朝の電車でばったり会って、そのままおしゃべりしていたら他の乗客さんに注意されちゃいました。ダメですね。周囲の迷惑を考えないと。遠野くんは悪くないのに私の代わりに怒られてくれたんです。
はあ、早朝の電車っすか。ダベるなんて人の自由ですけどね。あ、早朝？遠野はわかるとして、先輩電車通学だったっけ？
今朝はボランティアの帰りです。公園のゴミ拾いですね。ほら、学校の掲示板でもあったでしょ。生徒は自主的に参加するようにって。
ああ、海浜公園のあれか。さすが先輩、ご苦労様です。でもそういうことするから教師連中が当てにするんすよ。先行どもは好きあらばサボりやがるんだから、あんまり調子に乗らせないでほしいんですけどね。
いいんです。私が好きでやってるんですから。それに先生方もきちんと学校のことを考えてくれています。今の物言いは感心できませんよ、乾君。
Seal bluntly shuts Arahiko down. From what I can tell, it seems like Arahiko and Seal are on pretty good terms.
先輩、もしかして毎日ボランティアをやってるんですか？
なんだ遠野、知らないのか？シエル先輩と言ったら真の生徒会長って呼ばれてるぐらい便利な人でだな。
知ってる。肩書きだけの生徒会と違って何でも解決してくれる完璧な3年生だろ。
おう、1年じゃファンクラブまであるし、教師連中も厄介事が起こるとシエルに相談すれば安心だなんてのれんに腕押し状態だからな。今じゃ先輩が何をしたって文句を言う教師もいないぐらいだ。
The way Arahiko is bragging, he almost sounds personally proud.
ファンクラブまでは知らなかった。すごい人だったんだ、シエル先輩って。うちの教師連中に頼りにされるなんてよっぽどのことだよ、それ。
I look at her in wonder.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Seal's spoon clinks against the plate as she stirs her curry. For a moment I worry that we've embarrassed her, but then I'm reminded of the pressing issue before me. I have my own curry to eat, not to mention a full bowl of curry udon. My doctor says I shouldn't overeat, but I'll feel guilty if I don't eat everything Seal got for me. I better wolf down the curry before I start to feel full. Meanwhile, Seal and Arahiko talk about their families. I knew that Arahiko's parents are no longer with us, but I didn't know Seal lived by herself too. Apparently her apartment is fairly close to Suya Station. She lives past the business district by the south exit, rather than near the shopping district by the north, in a residential area that spreads eastward.
ところで遠野くんはどの辺りに住んでるんですか？
はい。
I'm quietly eating my curry when Seal suddenly turns the conversation to me.
どのあたりと言われると、その返答に困るというか。
Since my place of residence changes today, explaining my situation would be a bit awkward. I wish I could brush it off and just give some vague general answer, but it's impossible for me to lie when she's looking at me right in the eyes.
質問で返しますけど、先輩はなんで俺なんかの家を知りたがるんです？
だって遠野くん、私のアパートの場所を聞いちゃいましたよね。なのに私だけ遠野くんのお家を知らないのは不公平だなって。変ですか？
まあちょっと変です。不公平だなんて妙なことを気にするんですね、先輩は。
妙なことじゃないです。どこに住んでいるかわからないんじゃ、何かあった時お見舞いにも行けないじゃないですか。
My mouth stops mid-chew. Seal's offhanded question gives me a sudden thrill.
お見舞いって、例えばの話、俺が風邪でもひいたら見舞いに来てくれるとか。
いえ、行きませんよ。今のところそんな予定はありませんから。
Yeah. The joy I felt a moment ago was evidently premature. Although I don't think Seal meant anything bad by what she said. She must just be naturally blunt.
俺の家もこの町ですよ。徒歩にして30分弱。ほら、北口から郊外に上がると坂の上に住宅地があるでしょ。あそこの奥まで行ったところです。
ああ、そうだった。今日から引っ越すんだっけ、お前。
Adahiko jumps in as if spotting his chance. Seal cocks her head quizzically.
引っ越したですか？遠野くん転校生だったんですか？
は？
What an odd thing for a Seal to ask. Adahiko and I wordlessly glance at each other.
あのですね、俺は1年からこの学校にいるし、先輩ともその頃から顔見知りだったじゃないですか。なんだってそこで転校生だなんて単語が出てくるんです？
だって遠野くん引っ越したって。
引っ越したら誰だって転校生になるわけじゃありません。住所が変わっただけで学校は変わってないんです。今までは親戚の家にいたんですけど、今日から元の家に戻るだけなんですよ。
Seal's strange confusion seems to clear up.
お家が変わっただけなんですね。それで今は郊外の住宅地に引っ越したと。
そう、坂の上にある仰々しいところに。
なるほど、合点がいきました。じゃあもしかして遠野くんのお家というのはあの遠野邸のことですか？
I sense some hesitation in Seal's voice. The people of Soya probably look at the giant house on the hill with a kind of reverence. It's been 7 years since I was last there, but in my memories, the Tohno mansion felt as big as a castle.
そういうことです。自分でも場違いだとは思ってるんですけど、引っ越しちまったものはしょうがないから。
その様子じゃあんまり乗り気じゃなかったのか。自分の家って言っても7年ぶりならしょうがねえか。しばらくは他人の家みたいに感じるんじゃないか。
どうだろう。まだ帰ってないからよくはわからない。まあ、俺にはお前の家っていう避難場所があるから気は楽だけど。
なんですかそれ。ざっけんな。俺んちはお前のビバークポイントじゃねえですよ。休みになりゃ泊まりに来やがって。おかげで姉貴は俺より友達の遠野くんびいきになっちまって年々小遣い減ってるんですけど。
I'm guessing that's more on Arahiko, but I keep that to myself. I don't want the conversation to turn sour. To be honest, the Tohno family isn't something I feel comfortable talking about.
へえ、仲がいいんですね、二人とも。
よくね。俺と遠野は奪い合うことはあっても手を取り合うことはない。いわば敵同士っすよ、マドモアゼル。
でも遠野くんは乾くんのお家に泊まるぐらいなんでしょ。仲すごくいいじゃないですか。
違いますよ先輩。遠野は長い休みになると家に居づらいってんで逃げてきただけです。この野郎、預けられたことで有馬の人たちに遠慮してんの。で、部屋が空いてる俺のところに転がり込んでくるってわけ。こいつは外見がいいから姉貴にも気に入られちまってさ、厚かましくも手ぶらで泊まりに来るんだぜ。
Arahiko clenches his fist in anger. I never knew that bothered him so much. I'd have to bring him something the next time I go over.
預けられたって遠野くんがですか。
Arahiko claps his hands over his mouth. He laughs awkwardly, seeming to realize he's said too much.
気にするなよ。別に悪いことじゃないんだから。
I continue eating, keeping my eyes on my curry.
そっか。まあそうだよな。あれで文句を言ったら罰が当たるってもんか。
Arahiko nods emphatically. A part of me admires the way he can turn and fire back at anything.
ごめんなさい遠野くん。その前のご家族とはうまくいってなかったんですか。
いや、そんなことはないっすよ。こいつ有馬の親御さんとは何の問題もないもんな。みんな超いい人たちだし。いや、有馬の親父さんは割と怖いけど。だって言うのに、こいつは養子にならないかって話も断って、休みになれば俺のところに逃げてきやがるんだ。本当に何が不満なんだお前は。
不満なんかあるわけないだろう。よくしてもらってるから、これ以上負担をかけたくないだけだ。
I finish eating my curry. Next up, an entire bowl of curry udon just for me. But Seal looks upset.
ごめん、シエル先輩。つまらない話だった。
そんなことないですよ。私の方こそ変なことを聞いてしまってすみません。
Seal tries her best to brush it off. I might be fine with Arahiko since we've been friends since middle school, but it seems like this sort of talk is too much for her. In fact, she's fidgeting like she'd rather be anywhere else.
あー、ごめん先輩。俺ちょっと遠野と内緒話があるからさ、席外してもらえない？
I can't believe Arahiko said that. In a roundabout way, no, in a very straightforward way, he just told Seal to mind her own business.
何言ってるんだ。内緒話なんてどこでもできるし、第一先輩はまだ食べ終わって。
Oh. Somehow, despite her talking to Arahiko this whole time, Seal has cleaned her plate.
いえいえ、承知していますとも。それでは邪魔者はここで。お先に失礼しますね。
With a quick bob of her head, Seal takes off, leaving me and Arahiko alone at the table.
先輩も居づらそうだったし、俺もこうした方がいいとは思ったけどさ。今のは紙一重じゃないか。お前、好感度下がったぞ。
まあさっきのは仕方ねえだろう。口を滑らせたのは俺なんだし、嫌われ役ぐらいはね。
Arahiko noisily slurps up his chikara udon. It must have gone cold while he was focused on his conversation with Seal.
お前、先輩のことを狙ってたんだろ。
そりゃ俺に限らず誰だって狙ってますよ、シエルさん。はい、うちの学校じゃピカイチだしね。でもまあ今の流れで気にするような性格だったらどうでもいい。遠野に内緒話があるっていうのも本当のことだし。
Hmm? Arahiko sounds unusually serious. I break apart a pair of wooden chopsticks with a snap and start on my curry udon.
なんだよ。 気持ち悪いな、急に深刻ぶって。また何かやらかしたか？
そんなんじゃねえって。俺が聞きたいのは実際遠野はどうなのかってこと。
どうって何が？
だから遠野は小学生の自分からよそに預けられてたんだろ。どんな理由かは知らないが、それから7年も経つんだ。なんで今になって感動してた息子を呼び戻すんだ、お前さんの父親は。
感動されていたわけじゃない。なんとなく屋敷から出るように言われただけだ。
遠野君、君ね、なんとなくで子供を家から追い出す過程があったら、それは悲劇じゃなくて笑い話ですよ。ただしほら一歩手前、寒すぎて笑えねえけどな。
The truth is, my father and I had been on bad terms long before the car accident and hospitalization. The Tohno family is a distinguished household dating back centuries, with customs very different to those of a regular family. My childhood memories are of an enormous old house and the oppressive and antiquated practices of the family within. The Tohno family is wealthy, with shares in a wide variety of companies. My father, Makihisa Tohno, wasn't much of a businessman, but the assets he inherited from my grandfather were more than enough to help his businesses make a fortune. A mansion from another era, a high-class lifestyle that valued history and decorum. Any child would have found that life in that mansion unbearably dull. So, when I was told to go live with the Automas, I had no qualms about leaving my real family behind. I think it was the best outcome I could have asked for. I got along well with the Automas. Kaiko and Fumiomi treated me no differently than if I had been their child by birth. I had always wanted to be part of a normal family, and living with the Automas gave me that opportunity. I didn't have any regrets there. With one exception, my sister, Akiha. She was a year younger than me, and I left her behind at the Tohno Manor. I wonder if Akiha resents me. I mean, why wouldn't she? I left her in that giant, lonesome house with no one for company but that pig-headed old man. It's not hard to imagine what Akiha thinks of me, of the brother who ran away from it all.
そうだな。確かになんとなくで家から追い出されたら、そりゃ笑うしかない。
だろ。おまけに二度と敷居はまたぐなっていう決め台詞付きだ。世間様ではそういうのを感動って言うんだ。今まで聞かなかったけどな。お前、なんで感動されたんだ？
Yeah. I'd like to know the answers to that myself.
ま、話したくないならいい。
Hanahiko picks up his bowl with both hands and drinks down the broth. Lunch always feels so short. I follow Akihito's example and quickly down the rest of my food. School comes to an end for the day. I look out over the schoolyards from my seat, unable to will myself back to the mansion. The classroom, dyed a red-orange by the sunset, looks like a watercolor painting. It makes my eyes throb a little. There's something about vermilion that's unsettling. As the hue pierces my eyes, I'm hit with a wave of nausea. I guess I have trouble with anything that reminds me of blood. The reality is, I've grown weak to it. "7 years ago, I was on the verge of death. I was caught in a terrible accident, a building collapse. My wounds were so severe that most people thought I didn't have a chance. Luckily for me, all of my injuries were focused in one place, and my doctors were able to get to me fast. It almost feels like it happened to someone else, thinking back like this. There's still a lot I don't know about it. Something struck my chest with such force that it impaled me. I passed out immediately, like a machine that had its plug pulled. All I remember after that is the pain and the cold. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. The scar still remains on my chest. From what they told me, I not only hit my back hard, but a piece of glass pierced my chest as well. That's how I got the burn-like scars on my chest and back. When I was finally able to look at the wounds, I almost passed out from the sight of them. Ever since then, I've been prone to bouts of anemia. I've caused a lot of trouble for the people around me, collapsing suddenly all the time. I assume that's why Makihisa Tohno, my father, decided that I wasn't healthy enough to be his heir. I hold down the urge to vomit. I breathe deeply, waiting for the needling in my eyes to subside. A mark of death, hidden under my school uniform. I've been able to see the lines ever since the accident. It's only thanks to the glasses Master gave me that I've kept some semblance of a normal life. Without them, I'm sure I would have gone mad a long time ago. Kiko was worried that the Tohnos weren't normal when we said goodbye this morning. But there was no need. The reason being, I'm hardly normal myself. I push my glasses back up the bridge of my nose and grab my bag. I can't stay in the classroom forever. I'll wander around the school, go back to the manor. Let's wander around the school. Honestly, I'm still not quite ready to go back. I don't really have anything to do, but maybe wandering around the school will help ease my nerves. Come to think of it, I made plans with someone this morning.
そうだった。電車の中で茶道部に顔を出すって話をしたんだっけ。
It must be fate that I remembered that at this exact moment. I've still got time before the school locks up. Might as well check out the tea ceremony room. The tea ceremony club's room is hidden at the end of the student club's annex. It took me about 10 minutes to find this place, far longer than I expected. It didn't help that nobody knew anything about a tea ceremony club. I ended up going to the faculty room myself and looking it up on the floor plan, and now I'm here.
すみません。先輩いますか。
I knock on the sliding door as I call out. A moment later,
おや、誰かと思えばトーノ君。
a face I know all too well emerges.
もしかして遊びに来てくれたんですか。いえ、これは遊びに来てくれたと見ました。ささ、そういうことなら中にどうぞ。ちょうどトーノ君と話したかったところです。
はあ。それじゃあ遠慮なくお邪魔します。
I'm a little taken aback by Seal's eagerness, but I did come here just to see her. I step into the tea ceremony room. The room is far more authentic than I thought it would be. It's actually a full-on Japanese-style room.
驚いた。うちの学校にこんな教室があったなんて知らなかった。完全に趣味の部屋じゃないか。
私もそう思います。形式上は部活動のためということになってましたが、校長先生の趣味でしょうね。もっとも私が入るまでは使われていなかったようですが。
She walks onto the mats ahead of me. With a clatter of porcelain, she begins preparing the tea.
先輩が来るまで使われていなかった。
そうなんです。もったいないことに茶道部は部員数ゼロの架空部活に甘んじていたのです。お菓子は心の安定剤、和菓子の良さを伝える道が廃れているなんて、街から笑顔が消えるようなもの、いえ、雨の日に捨てられた子犬を見捨てるようなものですので、先生方にお願いして茶道部を再開させていただいたんです。部員はまだ私一人なので、5人揃うまでの仮運転ではありますけど。
そうなんだ。先輩好きなんだ、お菓子。
I'm pretty sure there's more to the tea ceremony than that, but that's not my business.
はい、本命は洋菓子ですが、丁寧に作られたお菓子に寄せはありませんから。ともあれ、茶道部の首相として 地道に勧誘活動を続けているんです。そのおかげで放課後とか休み時間とかこんな風に自由に部室を使わせてもらっているんですよ。遠野くんも何かありましたらぜひ。私放課後は大抵ここにいますから。
そうなんですか。
It's as if she's using the club room as her own private space, like a secret hideout. Though I'm flattered by Seal's invitation, I wonder how this will help with the revival of the tea ceremony club.
けど遠野くんも物好きなんですね。確かにお誘いはしましたけど、あれだけでここまで足を運んでくれるなんて。もしや顔に似合わず肉食系ですか？
Her teasing causes the back of my neck to grow hot. I wasn't trying to hit on her, I just figured I'd stop by, but as I formed my reply, I realized I'm making excuses.
いや、本当に特に理由はなかったんですけど。
But she does have a good point. I'm not usually the sort of person to take someone up on this kind of invitation. Come to think of it, why did I come here?
と、これは失礼。強くかけすぎちゃいましたか。
She murmurs to herself and claps her hands. I squint against the red afternoon sun pouring through the windows. While I was busy admiring the room's decor, Seal took some floor cushions out of the closet and laid them out on the tatami mats. It looks like we're going to have an actual tea ceremony.
あのさ先輩、俺こういう作法苦手なんですけど。
そこは問題なく。私だって流した手前ぐらいしか知りませんよ。遠野くんはどうぞ自由に楽にしてください。
On the table are a teapot and teacups, as well as some snacks to go with the tea. The snacks are nothing fancy, pre-packaged mini cakes and rice crackers that can be found at any convenience store. I guess this really is just a place to drink tea and chat.
気軽におしゃべりするだけなんですから、堅苦しいのはなしにしましょう。そういうのは楽しくありませんからね。正座とかしないで足を崩しちゃってもいいですよ。
She smiles softly as she pours 2 cups of tea.
はあ、真面目なんだかおおらかなんだかよくわからない人ですね、先輩は。
I take the cup of tea and bring it to my mouth. I had no part in it, but the Aramas ran a tea ceremony school. Growing up in their household, I've become quite accustomed to spending time drinking tea in a room like this. I drink slowly, savoring my time here as much as the tea. And then I notice it. Seal is staring at me with an uneasy look on her face.
どうしたんですか先輩。浮かない顔してますけど。
ああ、なんだか遠野くんの方が落ち着いてるなってちょっと驚いてました。
うちはもともと厳しい家だったからこういうのに慣れているだけですよ。それより先輩、話したかったって言ってましたけど、何の話ですか？
おっと、そうでした。実はお昼に聞いたお話がどうしても気になって。
昼の話って、俺の実家のこと？
Seal nods.
遠野くんが嫌じゃなければですけど。ほら、この時期に住まいを移すなんて何か良くないトラブルでもあったのかなって。
うちの家の話なんて聞いたってつまらないですよ。それこそ時間の無駄だと思うけど。
つまらなくてもいいですよ。私が聞きたいだけなんですから。
はあ、物好きですね、先輩は。
Perhaps so, she smiles.
それじゃあ話の続きをしましょう。自分の家に戻ると言っていましたけど、今までご実家には戻られていなかったんですか？
はい、いろいろあって7年近く実家に戻ってなかったんです。療養生活みたいなものでしょうか。 10歳の頃に事故に遭ったんですけど、それからは慢性的な貧血持ちになっちゃって。で、遠野の家は何かと騒がしいので、落ち着ける親戚の家に預けられていて、それが昨日までの話です。
ああ、それは大変でしたね。その傷の方はまだ？
そっちはバッチリ治っています。後遺症は貧血だけですけど、親父に言わせれば事故に遭う前からその気はあったそうだし、別に気にしていません。
そうだったんですか。辛いお話をさせてごめんなさい。つまりその親戚の方々が10歳からの育ての親ということになるんですね。
そうですよ。有馬という家の人たちで、俺にはもったいないぐらいよくできた人たちでした。
I find myself expressing far more gratitude than I really intended. I was fortunate to have been able to live with the Automas for 7 years.
過去形なんですね。いずれご実家に戻ることが分かっていたから、有馬家の人たちはあなたを家族として接していなかったということですか？
いや、そういうわけじゃなくて、遠野家から呼び戻しが来るなんて全く思ってなかったし、俺も恵子さんたちもずっと一緒に暮らすと思っていました。
呼び戻しがないと分かっていたんですか？遠野くんは遠野家の長男なのに？
はい。本当のことを言ってしまうと、療養生活というのは建前なんです。俺と親父は犬猿の中というやつでして、怪我を理由に手よく放り出されたようなものなんです。
それはあなたの勘違いではなく？
うん、そうですね。勘違いならそれに越したことはありません。
I try my best to answer Seal's question honestly. I feel myself smiling ever so slightly. Her concern is heartwarming. The idea that all of this might have just been one big mix-up.
でも、それを確認することはもうできません。ついこの間、当の本人が奇跡に入りましたから。親父はぽっくり言っちまって、7年間の行き違いはこれでおしまい。みかん。
Well, I know better than anyone else that's a big if.
お父さん亡くなられたんですね。それであなたは実家に戻ることになったと？
はい。新しい当主からとっとと帰ってこいと矢の催促で、おっかないんで今日から戻ることになりました。
I wrap up the story quickly. Something seems to be on Seal's mind. She takes a short breath and returns her gaze to me.
一つ聞いていいですか？
Her serious tone has me instinctively straighten my back.
どうぞ。俺に答えられる範囲でなら。
そうですか。では遠慮なく。あなたは先ほど有馬の家の人たちを過去形で話しました。あなた本人ももう切り離して考えている。遠野くんはそれぐらい前のご家族が嫌いだったんですか？
She means Kaiko and Fumiomi, the people who raised me for the past 7 years. A father and mother who were not my real parents. A home that was not my own. But in spite of that,
いえ、大好きでした。血がつながってないことなんて 気にも留めない人たちで、俺が一人で落ち込んでいるのが申し訳なくなるぐらいあったかかった。そういった疑いようのない愛情を信じられる自分もまんざらじゃないんだなって思いました。
Yes, these people love me. So as quickly as I can, I need to become a real member of their family. I've told myself that constantly ever since I was young. I'm not even sure when I started, but I must have repeated those words to myself over and over until I was blue in the face.
でもダメだったんですね。
はい。熱しやすく冷めやすい性格って言いますけど、きっと自分はそうなんです。
No matter how much love they gave me or how happy I felt, the next day it would all feel like it had happened to someone else. Those feelings never lasted. They never felt like mine, no matter how much I wanted them to. That's why, at the very least, I try my best every day not to forget the fact that they cared about me.
家族に関してはそれが顕著なんです。父親母親が向けてくれる愛情より強い愛情を返せない。なんで
I couldn't shake the idea that as long as I stayed like that, I'd never truly be part of their family. Maybe it's a childhood trauma. Wherever I go, my family always feels like strangers. Seal is silent. She averts her eyes and shrugs her shoulders apologetically.
ほら、つまらない話だった。すみません先輩。時間を無駄にしちゃって。
いえ、そんなことないです。すごく有意義なお話でした。
Seal forces a smile in an effort to lighten the mood.
でもちょっと意外でしたね。私、遠野くんってのんびりしている子だなって思ってましたから。
基本的に俺はのんびりしてますよ。できるだけ今を楽しむってのを座右の銘にしましたから。終わってしまうことより先のことを楽しみにしていた方がハッピーでしょ。
Seal doesn't need to know I stole that from Arihiko.
先のことを楽しみにですか。いいですね、そういうの。私も全力で応援したくなっちゃいました。しかし、できるだけエンジョイするですか。それじゃあ差し当たって明日から一緒に登校とかしちゃいます？
Her sudden suggestion catches me off guard, and finally makes me take notice of how long I've been going on about myself. I'm usually not like that.
ああ、いや、そういう意味ではなくて、楽しむってのはあくまで希望的観測に過ぎないというか、先輩を口説くならもっと事前に段階を踏むというかですね。
はい、もちろん冗談です。遠野くんが紳士であることは私も分かっていますから。
Part of me feels a little disappointed to hear that, but I'm glad to have avoided any misunderstanding. I collect myself and bring the teacup to my mouth. After talking for so long, the tea has grown cold. We kept talking for about an hour after that. It was fun, and Seal was attentive the whole time. Still, it's not something I'm used to. I suddenly feel very tired. Her favorite part seemed to be my story about the class trip in middle school. Apparently she didn't get one, as she caught the flu the day before and had to miss it.
中学2年生ということは14歳の頃の遠野くんですか。その頃の遠野くんも見てみたかったです。
Those words paired with that smile would make just about anyone turn red. I could keep talking to Seal forever, but the sun is beginning to set. It's about time for her to close up the tea ceremony room, so I decided to make my way home. My path home is different from the one I took yesterday. It leads me from a compact middle school neighborhood to one where large, expensive houses line the street. Every step brings me closer to the Tohno mansion. The area isn't completely unfamiliar to me. It may have been 7 years ago, but I have vague memories of this place from when I was 10. It's a strange feeling. This path feels both new and familiar at the same time. I climb up a long hill. The rows of houses disappear from my view. The smell of greenery tickles my nostrils. I may be in the middle of the city, but this place feels anything but modern. Almost everything from here on is owned by the Tohno estate, the mansion I lived in until the age of 10. The only things left for me there are old memories and relatives I never got along with. Though now, only one close relative remains in the mansion. Makihisa Tohno, the father that hated me so much, passed away the other day. My mother died from an illness the year Akiha was born. So the only Tohnos left will be my sister and I. As the eldest son, I would have taken over as the head of family, but I no longer have that right. Being the Tohno heir means a restrictive and cloistered childhood. I don't know how many times I was told off by my father for trying to escape all that. That's why when I was left defective after my accident, he took the opportunity to cast me out. I'm sure he felt that even though I was the eldest, he couldn't leave the family in the hands of someone who could keel over dead at any moment. To my father's surprise, I recovered, but Akiha had already been chosen as the next heir of the Tohno family. Akiha had been raised as the prized daughter of the Tohno, but after my accident she had to endure a harsher education befitting her new station. We played together in the gardens until I was 10, but I haven't seen her once since then. And now it's been 7 years. I wonder how the Tohno mansion has changed. I won't have to wonder for much longer. If anything should come to mind now, it would be my father, my sister, someone else I played with as a kid. What? I guess I'm going to think about my sister? But my sister, Akiha. Akiha visited me a number of times when I first moved in with the Automas. I wasn't able to see her because of my daily hospital visits, and once she started staying in the dorms at a girls' academy, we only ever exchanged a few letters. Unlike Akiha, I had been expelled from the family. That's why I was able to live as freely as I have. After 7 years, my sister and I must have very little in common. Honestly, I don't really have any desire to go back to the Tohno mansion, except Akiha is there. When we were children, Akiha was a quiet girl who always looked meek and timid. She'd follow me around wherever I went. With her long black hair and fine dresses, she looked like a princess out of a fairy tale, locked in some tower and awaiting rescue. I know I have no right to just slip back into being Big Brother now, but I've worried about Akiha these 7 years. She was the first thing I thought of when I learned of Makihisa's death. All alone in that massive house after her father's death. More than anything, I felt responsible because my carefree lifestyle had forced the burden of the Tohno family onto her. I think the reason I agreed to return to the manor was to make amends for leaving Akiha behind. The main gate is shut tight. I remember thinking it was big when I was a child, but after living in a normal house, I realized just how massive this place is. The mansion sits on a high hill overlooking the city, giving the Tohnos a view of all they control. The grounds alone are bigger than my high school, including the forest behind the manor, and it's easily triple the size. Surrounding the perimeter is a wall of leaves and a long fence preventing outsiders from peering inside. The entrance at the main gate is closed, turning away those who seek entry. Next to the massive gate for cars to pass through, there's a smaller door for people. I hesitate for a moment before pressing the call button. It doesn't make any noise as I push it. After a few seconds, the lock opens with a welcoming click.
ここのドア全自動になったんだ。昔は守衛さんがいたんだけどな。
I open the heavy door and pass through the stone gate. The door gives a satisfying clunk behind me, locking itself again. I make my way along a gently sloped path deeper into the grounds. The walkway, surrounded by tall trees, feels almost like a tunnel. It stretches 40 meters east, then turns at a 90-degree angle to the north. Memories flood back with each step I take. I know this path. I've walked it many times. Just a little further. I reach the corner. My feet guide me towards the north, the rest of my body following closely behind. Then on the left. Ugh, another fade to white. These authors want to damn your eyes. The Tohno Mansion, its great white walls standing at attention. A sigh escapes my lips in a combination of wonder and resignation. The mansion looks just like it did back then. According to my father, the building has been the same since my grandfather inherited it from his grandfather, though it was repaired once after the war. For the past few centuries, it's been the seat of power passed from one generation to the next. This is a holy ground for Makihisa. No, for all those related to the Tohnos. I remember seeing only different adults vying for a piece of it, currying favor with the old man while staying at the mansion for the yearly family meeting. They were all extremely successful business people with their own fancy homes, but for whatever reason they were obsessed with the Tohno Manor. Getting to live there must have been a point of pride for them. It all sounded ridiculous. It's just a big fancy house to me. I've never been comfortable with being privileged.
さて
There's no going back now. A small doorbell is placed next to the comparatively huge double doors. I shake off my nerves and try and ring the bell. There's no familiar ding-dong. The heavy silence continues for a few seconds. The sound of hurried footsteps comes from the other side of the doors.
はい、お待ち申し上げておりました。
Alright, well, we stop it there. This is meowmurai. You've been watching Tsukihime, a piece of blue glass moon running on Nintendo Switch 2. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.